Hello, everybody. If it's Saturday and we're on your screen, then that must mean it's time for another reveal show spectacular. That's right. Boy, oh boy, this was everything I had hoped for, everything I had dreamed, knowing that there's still more to come. This is a hugely exciting reveal full of nothing but the most awesome things ever. At least that's what I caught in the last 15 minutes. I'm not sure what the rest was about or why it mattered. But hey, Tom, what's up, buddy?
Hello, friends. I know that my long my long held desires, my yearning was finally delivered in Hobbit with Rock.
Indeed. I know
It,
that's what you've
it,
been waiting on. Hobbit with
it,
Rock.
it's the mini that I wanted more
Hmm.
than anything else.
I've heard you
Hobbit
talk about it so
with
many
Rock.
times. Yes. When are we going to get Hobbit with Rock? I hear you say all the time.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So up on the screen right now, let's just get into this. Uh, so we're gonna minimize this real quick. Let's talk about Hobbit with Rock for a moment.
That's
So,
I
so first of all, we're not going to talk about any 40K thing. So sorry, because I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, that was fine. Whatever. Okay. I'll say this one thing about 40K and then we'll move on. It's funny to me that they're starting another like narrative campaign type of thing up and that they're taking the Broken Realms model that so it's actually Broken Realms is this new thing, not it was Psychic Awakening, because this new book they have has like five different factions that are getting touched in it, right? Very similar to the first Broken Realms, like trying to
Mhm.
move the narrative forward in destroying a Forge world or whatever, right? So it was just funny to me that like no, Broken Realms is Psychic Awakening. This new thing is Broken Realms. But anyway,
Mhm.
all right. So we'll talk a little Middle Earth, just as it's related and at least it's kind of fantasy oriented. And you had a sweet new tree dude model who can be built with or without Hobbit with Rock. Yeah, cool tree lord. And my guess is if they ever remake the Sylvaneth book, and make the tree lords not crap, you'll see plenty of people with these as their tree lords.
By the way, we have a crisis, Vince.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm ready.
your camera is reversed in the stream,
Okay,
and
this,
it
this is how
and
it's
it's
been.
it's really trippy. No, you need to understand. Like the world has seen hundreds of thousands of hours of you with the NGS poster on the other side, and now it looks like you've moved houses. I'm just letting you know.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. This is how it is when we meet like this. So get
Okay.
used to the new normal.
Okay. Well, hey, folks, Vince has a new meeting spot.
Yeah, this
Congrats.
is a completely different office. I used an office recreation service just like Jack Donaghy.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, super cool. Like the tree dude, looks good.
I mean, here's the deal. If I ran a full Sylvaneth army, this would be my tree lord.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Like nope on those other GW models. This is what I would do.
This
And I
guy's so
love
much better.
I love that in the reveal video they had them with Sylvaneth trees, like the
Mm-hmm.
actual current tree models, and I'm like, yeah, it does look better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, good stuff. Cool beans. I liked him. He's nice. Uh, Great. Okay, that's what we have to say about Middle Earth. Fun
Yeah.
times in Lord of the Rings land. And
Tree with a
there's
rock.
Hobbit
Or
with rocks.
yeah.
Now let's get into the stuff we actually care about. Here we go. Uh, let's talk about this Kagura's car. Let's talk about these Ravagers.
The new
Um,
FTD warband.
Yes, S2D Warband, yeah. So here, just a quick note: stop calling everything Ravagers. Like the Ravagers in the S2D book were the non-heavy armored stuff, like it was the cultists and the marauders and stuff like that. And then you put out another thing called Ravagers that's the heavy armored Chaos Warriors. They can't all be Ravagers. Like Chaos, we've got to have a meeting about your naming schemes, okay? Like just maybe we get together and we have a little kind of planning session around how we're going to name everything. Okay. Uh this warband's fantastic. I mean, Tom, let's go to you first. I'm just going to scroll through the images up here
Yeah.
on the screen.
Like it's beautiful. Like so that open or not that one. The other one of them is was clearly in the reveal. Like we were joking around about the Vampirates with the Sea Dragon cloak.
Yeah.
But sure enough, like as I pointed out, I think on the show, like it's a Chaos Warrior.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
they have the belt, they have the tassel, they have the new scaled cloak.
Yep.
And so even though we had the weird warp hand, we just found out like that warp hand was the clasp of the cloak itself.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that we have a female Chaos Warrior. That sorcerer is just king.
She's great.
That sorcerer is like I loves it. I love how all of these models harken back to other models.
Yes, we should talk about that. And I want to shout out Martin Orlando here, who did a great job of capturing all of the individual models that these are sort of clearly meant to harken back to. So, Harry the Hammer, Crom the Conqueror, Slambo, and the original Games Day Sorcerer that was in male. And they mentioned the male Games Day Sorcerer on the stream. But, each of these has an allusion back to those models. Like, obviously, this guy's meant to evoke Slambo to some degree, right? In sort of pose and aesthetic. Which one's the female one? This is... So, somebody asked which one's the female one. This right here is the female Chaos Warrior. And in the stream, they mentioned that she's the sister of the Chaos Sorceress here. So, those two are sisters. And then they have their two Chaos Warrior bros who are following him around. As they said, and I do enjoy the joke, the family that slays together stays together. Yes, that's fun. That's fun. But these are, like, all four of these are great. As I said, this is, I think you and I, multiple people joked because we were chatting before this, that this is one of the best deals in the history of sort of Underworlds warbands, because you get a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, a Chaos Lord, and then two awesome, like, Chaos Lord or Chaos Champions in both.
So, you know what I love about it is that they snuck in a re-release of the Mausoleum terrain box.
Oh, yeah?
On the Sorcerer's base.
Oh, this thing? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I've painted a whole lot of those, and that's the Garden of Moor rubble.
The corner piece on the edge of the gate. Yeah. Or the edge of the fences, sorry. Yeah, that's funny.
We were really close, by the way, to another bingo spot with that terrain. Unfortunately, it said box in the bingos. That didn't actually count for bingo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was sad. But yeah, this is an amazing, amazing kit. Like, I really love this. I think these guys are super beyond cool. This is an auto pickup for me. Like, I'm in like Flynn. Like, that's a slam dunk.
Yeah. So that the sorceress, by the way, like, there's a lot of really sweet Chaos Warrior helms that I would love to just replace her head with.
Sure, absolutely. I was thinking the same thing. I was actually, like, you know me and what I'm all about. I was actually going to replace her head with a sweet Daemonette type head, like one of the more human-looking Daemonette heads, which we'll talk about later. Other head swaps.
Even the new, we'll talk about the Slaanesh kits, but even one of the heads from the new Slaanesh kits would look really nice. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So not that I have a problem with this design. It's perfectly fine. And I actually think it's a really good design. Like, aesthetically, the sort of one horn being bigger than the other is, like, the composition lines of this are really good. I know people didn't come here to hear me geek out about, like, art stuff of the composition lines. But this is a really, really strong sculpt compositionally. Like, if you just look at the lines of how the staff cuts the figure, and then the angle of this cloak coming up and then swooping into the horn that comes around the head, the way it frames the head, like, then you've got a straight line all the way down this side of the fig. Like, there's a lot of really classic compositional stuff going on here. There's like a very classical balance of composition. It's like a hard line here with an angle here and a circle here. And it's exactly that. Like, she is that brought into miniature form. Yeah. So, cool stuff. Okay. And yes, they also are very much a Zinchi symbol. Yes, which is also fair. So we're gonna switch gears here for just a moment before we go to the next one, and I want to talk about this. So I'm gonna bring up the rumor engine pictures here, Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
There are
in the lack of rumor engines.
Correct. That's what I want to talk about. Yeah. So this is the site of the esteemed war boss Kurgan, a wonderful person.
We would do this at the end, but we can do this now.
No, I want to do this now because it's gonna lead into what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
So this is Warboss Kurgan has an awesome blog that's absolutely fantastic. where he tracks every rumor engine. And then when
Yep.
there's a reveal, which you've got to scan back, here we go. So, like, here was the Dire Chasm one, right? He shows what actually what the payoff was.
Yeah.
Okay, so the key is this one that we had revealed in the middle here was a preview engine, not technically a rumor engine. It was off cycle in advance of the Dire Chasm preview, right?
Yep.
But we can keep scrolling. I'm just gonna keep scrolling here. We've got spiky tail with chain, vulture, weird ghoul foot, hooky arm, rapier. Not one of the rapiers we're gonna see coming up. None of the current models have this rapier.
Oh, actually, I got a really interesting insight.
Okay, that's fine. We'll keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
Gun, skull head, other skull, glaive, bird with key. So we have to go back to like July to get a rumor engine that was probably revealed, which I agree with you. So this is when we see the new Drukhari, because we did get the Drukhari book coming, so clearly they'll have the Drukhari models at the same time, and that's where like this stuff will come from. We know there's new Death Guard, but we can go back before these. Here's clearly another 40k servo dude. That's fine. Another person with a rapier that is not not the people we're about to talk about. Bone flute.
They were originally our Vampirates call.
Right. Yeah. Now we know at this point that this one from 428.
Yeah.
Okay, is the Lizardman or Seraphon, I should say, Underworlds warband like Obvi. That's what that is. We've seen the little chameleon skink from it.
Yep.
Right. Crabclaw. This Stormcast thing. Like, whatever this was that we thought was giants that had nothing to do with it. Probably an OBR warband, a Drukhari thing, another Chaos angry face thing. I mean, like, I keep going. All the way back to this one. In March. So many unrevealed rumor engines, as well as a shield. And none of them, like, 0 of them, were in this preview stream, right? I went through and like looked at all the new Slaanesh models they revealed.
I did as well.
Tried to spin it, like do the best to like look at all the angles, see if any of them could match up. Nothing. If I missed one, please, audience, tell me or correct me. I would love to know that at least one of these rumor engines was in there. But that's crazy.
Okay, so can I draw attention to a couple rumor engines real quick?
Yeah, sure, hit me, man.
So I want to pay attention. Like, I want us to grab or just keep in our minds as we move forward into the next bit. The cauldron.
Yeah, sure. So the cauldron is this one up here, up top. This thing. Yep.
The staff head.
Okay, so 317. Yep.
And then if you scroll down to the Slaanesh, Dire Chasm warband.
Okay, sure.
Pay attention to the range of units that are in that warband.
Sure.
And what obviously catches my eye there, most significance, is the archer, and we'll talk about that.
There are 2 figs that should catch your eye in this, Tom. One is the Slangor with the old style crab claw, which we did have a crab claw in here.
Oh yeah. Good call. Yeah.
And the other is the archer. Yes, I agree with both of I absolutely agree with your point. What this tells me is that their backlog, because of COVID, is just beyond reason right now, right? Because these are people. They were taking pictures of figs 8 months ago that not only haven't released yet, that we haven't even seen yet. Okay, that's crazy. Like, they did a whole reveal show at the end of November, right? And didn't include any of the rumor engines from March.
Yeah.
And yes, I know there's an unresolved Christmas one from last year even that we never saw, and there's a couple earlier, but that was like there's a few still hanging out even before March. But March is when you start hitting the dry zone, where it's just like we've seen nothing. I mean, March also seems to be kind of a time when the world might have changed a little bit. That's kind of when everything went real south all over the world. Obviously.
Oh, by the way, I got it. That boot, the
Christmas boot?
oldest, the Orky boot, the oldest one. That, I'll put money, that is one of the Black Orcs from the Blood Bowl team.
Oh, that could be. I don't know. I haven't looked. But at any rate, I mean, when I say the Christmas one, it was the Christmas reveal. That's why. That's why the Christmas boot.
Yeah.
At any rate, so the point is that I looked through all of these and I was just shocked that none of this got in there. I just wonder, what are we going to still see that's going to actually reveal this? And these just keep chugging along. Week after week, we keep getting these previews, and week after week, we keep not seeing anything that actually fits them. Um, so yeah, crazy. The random shield was not the Slaves to Darkness Start Collecting, because the Slaves to Darkness Start Collecting came out before that. And I have I painted all of those Chaos Warriors twice, actually, and it's not the same shield. It's reminiscent. There is a very similar shield in there, but it's going, ah. It has a big open mouth instead of that face. So, but it is very close. I mean, it's obviously a Slaves to Darkness thing. That's not the question. It's just, it's not the one that was there. Okay. So now, awesome Chaos Warband auto purchase for me. I think these are gorgeous. Super excited.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't play Underworlds, but who cares?
I might pick it up. Like I was buying like everything from season 1 and 2 of Underworlds. I think I bought, but I stopped at Beastgrave, and like there's some good warbands in Beastgrave, even for armies that I haven't picked up. And so like I'll probably get around to it, but in general, I like converting my stuff pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And I like these warbands in general are a little bit harder to convert because they are often more dynamic.
That's true. That's true. I want to answer something in the chat real quick, which was somebody said, somebody asked, ba-boom, like, how do they get the pictures of these? Are they 3D sculpts or are they printed prototypes? I'll tell you how they get these, because I happen to know exactly how they get Rumor Engine photos. So what happens is somebody from the community team walks over to the office of like Pete or somebody else who has the new miniatures, and they say, hey, can I get a picture for the Rumor Engine, or take a couple pictures of a new fig? And Pete turns around, or one of the other people in the studio turns around to one of the new minis and says, sure, use this one. And then they take it over and they photograph it and zoom in. So they're using the real minis, usually the painted ones, that have come out as the heavy metal team, and all the other teams are doing their work way in advance. That's just, Pete had shared that story during one of the during a convention. So
the Q&A, yeah,
that's how they get them. This Chaos Warband is top notch. I am very, very excited for it. I'm excited for this whole new season of Underworlds, frankly, because I think we're finally getting some really amazing warbands. Not that we haven't before. It's just like they haven't hit for me, except a few of them. There's some that I really loved. I love both Iron Jaws ones. There's been stuff that is in my wheelhouse, but just they haven't hit as hard. But this season, what we've seen, that new Seraphon warband, I think is going to be incredible. We'll probably get like a new Skaven warband finally at some point, which might be where that little Proky Prod from the last week was, right? That might be the new Molder Stick. We know the new Slaanesh one is obviously incredible.
We're gonna get OBR, OBR.
Yeah, we'll get an OBR warband. Yeah, exactly. Because that axe head was clearly an OBR axe head. And it's going to be for Underworld. So, yeah, I mean, I'm real excited for the figs that we're going to see these. The detail, the life in these sculpts is incredible, and this is the one case where I don't mind them being highly detailed when it's a warband with like 3 or 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Right. I don't like it when I've got to paint 80 and it's like you went bajangle crazy, right? Like that's too much. But here we're good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Somebody, Grinaldi says it's hard to be excited for something called Diregasm. Fair.
I mean, I'm kind of excited about Diregasm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So. Uh-oh. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? It's finally time. That's right, baby. We're here. As soon as he started talking, now I knew who this was. Now, obviously, we had the 1-day preview yesterday that seemed to so clearly show us that it was Sigvald the Magnificent, greatest champion of Slaanesh. Right?
I love how he has like the Hollywood trailer.
Absolutely. Like, by the way, I think this is
hanging out behind a dreadhold.
I completely believe this is in canon. By the way, this is real. This is not a joke. This is 100% real.
You need that. By the way, you need to make that.
Absolutely.
For display board. Your display board. Maybe go get like a Barbie camper.
Yes. And don't worry, I saw some people asking about the other units. Oh, don't worry, folks. If for those of
Mhm.
you who might be worried, did you really think we were going to get all of Slaanesh at once? No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Hitting you with everything all at once, that's a corn thing. No,
Yes.
Slaanesh is
That's
about
not how Smash
we slide in slow, we
edged
tease.
right in. Yeah.
Yes. I see that Skeleton Flower was not a fan of the trailer. I'm a huge fan of the trailer. I'm sorry, Skeleton. We're going to be of different minds on this one. I thought it was great. I'm just going to scran real quick here through a couple
Hmm.
elements as we zoom forward. Mr. Magnificent, his little trophy that he has. Love his curlers and all his makeup. That's great. He has a sign here that says Mr. Non-Metallic, or casting call for non-metallic, I should say,
Yeah.
because obviously, famously, he is like one of the big non-metallic models that gets painted. So yeah, the non-metallic studio. And when they zoomed back and I saw he had horns, because classically the old model didn't have horns, of course.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, that's how we're getting him back in. He's clearly
He's a
ascended
demon
and will
prince.
probably have the Demon Prince keyword,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Um,
Which means he will lose mortal, correct?
Maybe. I mean, who knows? Like again, I suspect we're going to get actually a bit of mortal and demon together in this release, where
Yeah.
where
Well,
multiple
clearly they
units
said
will
that
carry
the other
both
people.
keywords.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then yes, we've got Throg in the picture as well, where that he's clearly angry at. That's a nice callback because obviously Throg killed Sigvald in the end times.
No, 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 not just killed. He killed and peed on him.
He did pee on him. Yes, that is absolutely true.
So first,
Well,
so
who's the
first,
winner now, Throg? You're a bunch of atoms in space. So regenerate from that, loser, okay? And he's back with the most glorious model released in Age of Sigmar history. So, I guess you lose.
I wouldn't go that far, but it is a beautiful model.
Yeah. So, yes, after famously in the end times when Sigvald converted Krell and killed him, but Krell scarred his face and then Throg killed him. So, anyways, by the way, do you know who killed Throg in the end
Uh,
times?
yeah, it was Cetra, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. So it was really, I felt a great revenge at that moment being a big Cetra backer. Anyways,
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
So let's go ahead and scroll down. We have obviously the old Sigvald the Magnificent. Love this fig. Painted it 3 times. I still have another one, by the by, like in my collection, unpainted, still new in box. But of
Mhm.
course, who cares about any of that? The king is dead. Long live the king. Oh,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, for real though. I cannot explain to you how excited I am for this. This fig is beyond amazing. The paint job's beyond
Yep.
amazing. I got to
Yep.
hit up some people and figure out who in the studio actually painted this, because they did a absolutely fantastic job. Uh, the yeah, I mean, I'm speechless for this model.
I mean,
This was an
it's pretty good.
exaltation moment. Yeah. By the way, I do want to shout out whoever was in. If you're watching now, I was watching the stream, and I did see that somebody made a comment to the effect of, uh, in the stream chat of like Vince is probably having a long extended, let's call it moment of excitement. Okay, a climax perhaps of sorts. And they put that in there, and then the admins deleted it because they felt it was an inappropriate comment. But I saw your comment, and I don't worry, you were exactly correct. Um,
I mean, it was on the nose for Slanesh, was it not?
oh, this was great. Like this model is beyond amazing. I am very very excited for this whole Mortal Slanesh reveal. I would point out it is my birthday in a couple days. I consider myself fully taken care of now. I'm good. I've got what I wanted. So happy
So,
birthday to me. Go ahead.
so does he look a little bit anime to you?
I mean, yeah, a little, which is
Like,
fantastic. Like in all the best ways. Yes.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I looked at it, I'm like, I could swear I saw this character in Record of Lodos.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. He does look like he almost has the feeling of like one of the kings in Record of Lodos if they were younger, right, or whatever,
Yeah.
or somebody like that. You know. Um, the yeah. I mean, So let's talk about old world characters coming back. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. This is yeah,
So I'm generally against it. Okay. Like I don't want. We get really obsessed with this nostalgia trip of like having old world characters come back. When are we going to get this character or this character or this character? No, they're dead. They're dead. Let them be dead. This is the problem with comics is that they can't leave anybody dead and make new heroes, right?
yep,
Uh Now, in the case of this, it seems like their explanation for how Sigvald came back is that he's going to be, obviously some kind of demon prince or infused by that. Chaos people kind of dodge this rule, right, as do death people, right?
yep,
Because obviously, like, Nagash can just recreate people that he remembers out of his will. And chaos, the realm of chaos is sort of infinite and forever.
yep.
So I found myself torn on this yesterday because I was like, do I really want Sigvald back? Like, I loved Sigvald. He was my boy.
Yeah,
This
he
is
was.
my, I mean, I really, really, one of my favorite models from the old range. And I found myself torn about should this come back, right? Or should we just get a new hero? Like, they introduced a new Slaanesh hero in, um, in Broken Realms, who's super cool. And, doesn't have a fig, right? And I was like, could we just maybe get a new hero? And then I saw this and I was like, nope, I take it all back. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a horrible hypocrite. And I don't care. Give me this right now in my face. Yes. So it's like I get it. I get it. That's what I'll
Here,
say.
here's the difference. There's in-world reason for this.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, like so when I look at this, like the reason why I'm okay with this and not like um who was that dark elf hero that rode the cold one? Malice Darkblade?
Malice, sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like the reason why Sigvald's okay and Malice isn't is that Sigvald was consumed by Slaanesh, as all Slaanesh followers would be, and reconstituted.
sure, yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, the
Yeah,
chaos people, it's easier for them to come back.
right.
Absolutely.
And so I don't have any problem with this, especially because of the horns. That suggests that we went with like that we're going the Demon Prince route, and it's fine. Like
Yep.
it's fine.
Yep. So and no, Sigvald is not the Protean form at the end of. So first of all, the Protean form at the end of Broken Realms,
Yep.
I'm not going to talk about it right now because there's sort of that's very spoiler heavy.
Yep.
And this isn't a stream where we're talking about that, but I'll say that there is multiple good reasons, including the spoiler article on the community site, to think that no, this is not Sigvald. Okay, like Sigvald is
Right.
just a separate.
No, he was hanging out in a trailer, not wanting to get his armor dirty, which
Right.
is why he hasn't joined the fight yet.
Yeah, he's inherent makeup. Look, it takes a long time to get those luscious locks ready to go. Okay, that's not you can't just rush that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so okay, so Sigvald is incredible. Probably, what do you think? 60 mil base, 80 mil base? How big is he?
That's a. I'm gonna go 80.
Okay, I feel like you're probably
Actually, you know
right.
what? Because of the scale on the skull, I'm gonna go 100.
No,
Look
no
at the
way, way too
skull.
big, way too
You
big.
think so?
Yeah, it's either 80 or 60. The skull is the point. I guess I gotta like I'll go find. I know how I can answer this. I'll go pull a skull out of the skull pack because all their skulls are exactly scaled the same. All right. I'll go pull a skull out of the skull pack and set it on a base and see which one it matches up to. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Like
Um,
I'm like I think that could be 100,
no,
honestly.
it's not. It's not that they have a. It's you could tell. It's definitely not. I would guess it leans more towards 60 honestly than 80. So at any rate,
Really,
yep.
really
I mean,
interesting.
keep in mind, demon princes are on like a 60, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
there you go. 100 is the keeper secret size. Okay. So yes, he's definitely bigger, obvi, than the old model. I mean, that's a doy. The old guy was on like a 25 mil base. The comments are very much behind 60 mil. So there you
Yeah, I
go.
see that. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see.
So at any rate, yeah, love the detail, love the paint job, but that's not all we got. We also got two new units previewed. So this is a dual kit,
Yep.
right? And this kit is going to be So as they mentioned, it'll be like they're all Hedonites, so they will be Hedonites. I wonder if we're not going to get some interesting new sub faction rules as well in some places, or you know what I mean, like because right now we have invaders, pretenders, and godseekers, and
Hold
then
on.
obviously
Can I
like
go back real quick?
yeah, sure.
What do you think the price?
Oh, if Sigvald is my soul, I don't care. It's irrelevant. I'll pay it. Who gives a hot crap? Like they could seriously. Let me say a non-joke. That thing could be $300. I'd buy it.
Well, most people aren't
Most
doing
people wouldn't. I understand that.
it.
I'm just saying I
Uh,
don't care.
I'm gonna call 110 USD.
Probably that sounds about right. Yeah, sure. But again, I don't care, Tom. At any rate, yeah, like look, it requires devotion and excess, so whatever. I mean, I hope it's cheaper than that. I think it should be cheaper than that. If it was me, I think a big character like that, a Demon Prince character, should probably be more in like the 60 to 75 or $80 range. That would be much more reasonable. But the fact that people in the chat are guessing anywhere from like $50 to 185 says none of us know at this point what GW's pricing is. It ever remains a mystery. Let us cast the bones, scry the leaves, and watch the stars to see what GW's pricing shall be. Woo! Okay. So we're also getting 2 new units. This is a dual kit.
Yep.
So the first one is the Myrmidon Painbringers. Somebody did give me an alternate name, which I think was pretty good. I guess on the Honest Wargamer reveal, which I haven't watched yet. I'll go back and watch Rob's show later. They called them Sexecutioners, which I think is pretty funny.
I mean, their helmets, that's pretty on the nose.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So I do have to agree that that's solid. So yes, I'm having to think with these new Hedonites and all these new mortals, we'll probably get a new, Slaanesh style sub faction rules. Yeah, obviously there is Celeste. Thank you. There was Celeste's host as well. I was going to mention that, but then Tom started talking.
You think we'll get a full battle tome?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of units here, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yes.
I think this is a much bigger release than what we are seeing here so far.
The reason why I ask is because of the change to like the heavy FAQ to the allegiance rules, right?
Yeah, sure, yes.
Just for all the summoning and everything, like it would make sense if when they saw that there was going to be a problem, they went, well, if we need to actually, like to fast track a book, like let's do the other half.
I would love to have a new battle tome. I really would, because one of the challenges with the original Slaanesh battle tome is that it's like, I don't mind Hero Hammer. It's one of the things I like about the army, but it's like really Hero Hammer, and that's the only setting for the army, right?
Yeah.
Because other than heroes, the only allegiance ability that Slaanesh has is 6s or double taps.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else has to do with heroes. Summoning based on what your heroes do and what your heroes get hurt or hurt others. That's it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I think that was ultimately...
Well, no, you have your Locust.
Which is also your heroes.
Right. It is heroes. But it's demon heroes only, right?
The Locust is... it's carved differently. No, it's Hedonite heroes.
Hedonite heroes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, but it's just the greater demons that get the +2. Got it.
Correct. So, like, the point is, if you bring in a Slaanesh marked Chaos Lord, they're not locusting people, right?
Right.
At any rate, but the point is, it's all of that stuff. Like, that whole page says, here are 4 cool things. 3 of them only are heroes, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, again, I watched Haywo Twitch's recent thing about game balance, and it's like, people are going to play the game the way you tell them to in the rules, not the way you intend them to in your mind. And when you write a book where you say, here's all your abilities, 4 out of 4 of these apply to heroes, 3 out of the, like all heroes benefit from all 4, right? And non-heroes get 1 out of the 4. Well, what are people going to do?
Right. They're going to play heroes.
Right. They're going to make a hero-heavy army because that's what you just told them to do. So you're going to make all these cool new units that we're going to see here in this release. And if you keep just exactly the same allegiance abilities, who cares? It's a bad way to play the army, right? So I think fundamentally, I hope they do change that in some way.
Yep.
At any rate, so the Painbringers are incredible. Let's just scroll through these guys real quick. Again, none of their weapons are any of the weapons we saw in the preview, which is strange. These guys are all carrying weird bottles of liquid, popular thing in the Mortal Realms now. Everybody's carrying around vials of liquid.
So, I heard one speculation in our private chat that it's lube.
It could be lube. That could very well be. Yes. I mean, you gotta be ready for all occasions when you're in a Slaanesh force. These new shields are like stupid, beyond amazing, incredible. Yeah, I mean, all of these look so good. I don't know what to do with myself. As they pointed out in the stream, I dig that the shields actually have like a padding underneath where the arm is to make it more comfortable. I do enjoy that. I think that's pretty cool. I think all of these executioners, as they've been labeled here, are wonderful. Aesthetically, they're everything I've wanted out of a Slaanesh Mortal release. Like, these are A+ all the way. Whoever sculpted these, you hit a home run. You pointed to the left field and cranked it out of the park. Like, this is beyond. Yeah. So, beautiful. Love them. Yes. Wish you were here. Okay, so then let's talk about the Symbarish, the Twin Souls. Yep. So this is where I said, like, I think we're going to get a fair amount of things that are sort of mortal and demon, perhaps. Like, we might see both of those keywords. Because their whole idea of these is they've bound a demon within themselves, right?
Yes.
So this is a twin kit, so you'll see a lot of the same core bodies. But then, obviously, they're very different other pieces. So there's a lot of differences going on here. So, for example, if we look over here, like, I'll just scan back to the Painbringers real quick. Their arms are all clearly different because the Painbringers have very heavily armored arms with the basket hilt rapiers, whereas these have these like much more lightly armored
scimitars,
leathers and stuff like that. You know, and the whips. Like, their arms are either bare or in leathers. So like, clearly you're gonna have a whole different set of weapon arms, different set of heads, obvi. It is important that we talk about the derp. Let's come to rest on this figure right here, the one with the trident, right, and the stabby knife. Okay. And so, you know, yes, these are a dual kit with the other ones. I would point out, by the way, that these have drank their liquid. When they painted the bottles on the other ones, they painted them full. These, they're all like half empty. So I guess maybe this is what... Don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad. You'll get this face if you do drugs.
All of them.
Mm-hmm. So don't do that. They're bad for you. Okay. So yeah, they all have these like stretched pseudo demon faces. Okay. We got to talk about the derp factor here a little bit. This one being especially bad. So like...
I mean, this is part, for me, like, this just embodies my entire frustration with Slaanesh.
Okay.
Like, I hate the faces of Slaanesh.
Really? Because I see a lot of people...
I've always hated the Daemonette faces.
Really? Have you painted the Daemonette faces, though?
I don't care. No. I don't like the look of them. You know, like, aesthetically, when I look at the model, I hate the face.
I came to really love the Daemonette faces recently because they actually aren't like this. They aren't goofy. That's the trick.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't like the weird no nose thing and the like. I just like the actual angular weird alien thing. Just like you don't like spiders.
Yeah, sure. I get it.
Like, I don't like that aesthetic, and so when I look at this, I'm just like, oh yeah, the other thing one of the things that I hate about the Slaanesh range. Right. Like, I don't like the keeper with the I want an elven human face. I don't want like a monstrous face.
Gotcha. Yep, fair enough. Yeah, for me, I love, like, we've talked before about the keeper, and that face is exactly what I want. I think the more feminine face is absolutely gorgeous, and I love that she has the almost alien kind of flat nose. Anyways, there are 3 heads in here that are like pretty not great. There are 2 that I think are okay. Like, the main guy with the swirly twirly dippy whippy thing on his back, which I assume is like the champion of the unit, probably, with a little mirror on his back, and the whip person with the hello Batman, right, with that face, with the Bane face. They're fine. The other 3, it leaves something to be desired. Now, I will say it doesn't help. Here's what I'll say. This paint job, or this paint job is not doing this model any favors. And what I mean is they used basically black to do the lines of the face, because the heavy metal team painted in this like ultra high contrast style where they used black to create like the smile line, right? And black around the eyes. And that makes it like that super accentuates the uh the look, right? If you softened that, if you weren't drawing black lines on the face, basically, if that was softened with normal colors, normal tones, like if anybody at home just paints this with some skin tone and then like slaps some Reichland flesh shade on it, it won't look this crazy, right? Because they have this clown face because they have the extreme color variation.
Yeah, because they go from like light all the way to black.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. So the paint job is not doing any favors here. I think they really should have softened this and went for a more like they need to go and watch more contour makeup tutorials. Okay, like watch more ladies apply expert like makeup people apply their makeup on YouTube, because this just doesn't have the like softness that should be necessary in those areas. Like this one, the trident with the stabby dagger, like having all the black around the teeth and making them look spaced, it doesn't look right. Okay.
Right. I mean, what I'll say is this. The good news is this. Head swaps are generally easy.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There is an entire set of, like, alternate heads in this box that fit these bodies.
Yeah, the helmeted heads. Like, if you don't like these, just use the Executioner helms. Boom. Right. Done.
And they look great.
Yeah.
But likewise, like, you could use Witch Elf heads.
Sure.
You could potentially use Daemonette heads if you preferred even that look.
I think these would look really good with the Sisters of Slaughter Witch Elf heads, not the normal Witch Elves with the sisters, like the masks. You know what I'm talking about? Their angry masks. I think those would be a great fit. Wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that look sweet? Right?
Yeah.
And
that's
again,
you told me. Like that's the head swap.
There it is, because it's got that angry face, right? Yeah. I was thinking about the various heads I would use. That was one. As I mentioned before the show to you, the Seeker heads that are like the bald with just the top knot in the middle would actually be a great match to the Executioner heads, right? Mm-hmm. Because they also have the tall head with the top knot. So, and those are just like those Seeker heads with the top knot are also the most human looking Daemonettes. Like they still have all their facial features. They have eyes, they have a full nose, they have a normal mouth, right? Like those Daemonette heads are very actually human. They're just softened a little, right? So it would actually feel very like, again, paint it not, white, gray, purple, Slaanesh skin and paint it like flesh, and it would be perfect. The Canary helms. Somebody mentioned Canary. The Sigil mentioned them. Yeah, the like Canary helms, the ones with like the forward-facing helms, right? Let's talk about so somebody just mentioned this. I was gonna go here. So Austin you're ahead of me, Austin, but you're dead on. So let's talk about this, which is these are 32 mil bases. Right? Like we're getting infantry on 32 mils.
Probably with 1 inch reach.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do some work here, right? Because that is a dangerous spot to be in. It can work, right? It can work.
Yep.
There are models in the game that are on 32 mils that are good, but that's a painful spot right now. Right now, the game seems to be favoring like 25 mil people or just bigger, right? Like just
or brutes that like
they don't need big giant bases and are hyper elite. Yes, but let's talk about the rest of the Slaanesh release.
Yes. The rest of the line that they didn't actually show you.
That's right. They're like, but we're at the end of the article, Vince. Oh, but are we? Okay. Boom. So let's go to the video. Let's go to the videotape. Where they clearly, like
we see at least 3 additional units. Minimum. Probably 4 or more.
Yes. So here we've got the Twin Souls and the Executioners in the shot, but notice we've got some more stuff in the background. Okay? Yes. New models, gleaming gold with the same armor paint that these are, right?
Yep.
So, let's take a look at some of these examples. So here, we can see this one circled. It's clearly like some being on a mount, right? It has, you can see the big horns coming up off the side of the head. You can see like the face being more highlighted, and you can see the haunches back here behind it, right?
Yep.
So clearly there's this feels like a mounted hero of some kind or something like that. It could just also be a monster, and maybe I'm just not, maybe the what I'm perceiving as a mounted person is just a
Slongor.
Yeah, like could be a big Slongor. Could be something else entirely. Like I think people have said they think this is Slongor. It does have the big horns. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a different take on Slongor. That could be too.
Yep.
But it's clearly like you can see what looks like another one back here on the other side of it, very faintly, right?
Yep.
I need the CSI enhance,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because this isn't that far in the background that it's actually huge. Like this feels like a cavalry-sized thing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's not the guy from. It's not the Slongor from Dire Chasm. It's clearly something else. Just because you can tell from the paint job, it's different.
Yep.
Like I did go and compare them, and they're not the same thing. So that's very exciting. Yes, I need the Blade Runner enhance, absolutely. But that's not all. Because over here, we have our new caster, right? Our new probably mortal Hedonite spellcaster. You can tell it's a spellcaster or some kind of leader because they're in the Captain Morgan pose. And all chaos leaders, all heroes in the mortal realms, when they want to show it's time to be important, you strike the Captain Morgan pose. So you can see the leg going out and down here. You can see that they're holding this thing forward.
Yep.
Right? This in their
staff,
in this hand.
Could potentially be the staff head of the rumor engine that I pointed out.
I don't think so because it's round. Like you can see the round gold
right.
part.
But if you remember on that staff head, it was the horns were round.
Sure.
And then there was the head, and then the rune marking stuff that came up through the middle. Yep. So it might not be, but it has that similar type of shape.
Yep. So we're clearly talking about some kind of Chaos Lord back there, which is real exciting. Like a sorcerer, probably, of Slaanesh, which is exciting. A new mortal sorcerer.
Yep.
And then I'm actually going to jump back to our original picture because it's slightly more in focus, just slightly. Then we have this other unit that I do not know what this is, but this is a little more zoomed out. But this is, again, we can see the Lord. Like this pans across, so you get a couple different seconds of her.
Yes.
Right. And you can see her here. And then these other big, giant, muscular things with gold faces. And at first I thought it was just a gore beast, right? But it's not. Like I went and looked at the gore beast, and it just doesn't line up. And you can tell it's like a really big base because they paint their bases.
It's some big Howdah thing. Like, I think it's going to be some, like, war shrine-esque thing is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Martin said he thinks they're Gorbeast chariots. I don't think they are, Martin. I went and tried to look at Gorbeasts, and it doesn't line up as exactly as you think it does.
I've painted a Gorbeast. That's not a Gorbeast. That's not what that is.
Yeah, like, I agree that it because that was my initial thought, too. But, we can go back to the video, and I actually can scrub to the point where it's at. Let's go back up to the video, and we'll scrub over to it, because I know the exact time.
Did you pull an image from the thing I found?
Yeah, here we go. So here you go. You can see them, like as we scroll across here. You can you get maybe like 2 seconds of them, right? But you can see the girl there and this other one in the background. And yeah, there's more going on back here in this big base beyond just would be a gore beast chariot or something, right? The density of what's going on back there is higher, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's probably like the as somebody said, it's probably like the palanquin or like some type of big Howdah again, we had talked about the Persian themed 300 aspect of the army,
right,
like Xerxes' throne.
Yep, that's exactly what my call is going to be, 100%. I think you and I talked about this beforehand. And I absolutely think that's what we're getting. Like, when you look at the base, it's not curving in here. It's still curving out,
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
like it's still
Yep.
coming forward towards you. Okay,
Yep.
so I feel like this. We're talking about a Triumph of Saint Catherine or a Catacros or a big model like that. And Red Wizard said it might be like the Sniffer, which I don't disagree with. That we got this sort of that kind of weird model, right? But some kind of holy processional, like Chaos leaders love big chariots, big processional things like that. Slaanesh leaders do. I'm sorry.
And like, so if it is going to continue to be a hero focused army,
Mm-hmm.
the mortals will need something that is a hero unit that is comparable to the Keeper of Secrets.
Right. Yep. Yep. So then the way to do that would be to have this big like mortal Xerxes processional unit.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
And have it being pulled by these two, sort of chained monsters, which is what it feels like up here with these two figures in the foreground. Because you can see how the other one's more up, right? You see how this
Yep.
one's very down, almost like the Gorby stance, but not exactly. And then the other one's more up,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So the point is, we know we've got at least 3 additional units that we haven't seen yet. Like this is a big
4.
release. The processional, the caster, and the Slangor / Mountie thing,
Yep.
whatever that is.
And finish the pan.
Okay, sure. So, oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Tom. I almost forgot. So we're gonna finish the pan here, and we're gonna go to the last second.
I saw this as I was looking at this thing that Vince was doing. I continued to like scroll, like the timestamp. It's at 1:18 when this is all the way panned to the right.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough to see, everyone. I apologize, but this
If
one.
you go to the video and go to the 1:18 timestamp,
That's where I'm
you
at.
can see this for yourself.
Yep. Look over here, okay? And if
Yep.
you see this line, that's a hand holding a bow. And then there's another bow peeking out over here in the corner.
Yeah.
Right?
So those archers that we saw in the Dire Chasm warband, it looks like there will be an archer unit as well.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, like if you look right along the frame, like the bow is super clear. Like the bow is the only thing that's in frame, and it's identical to the Slaanesh. Not identical, but it's of the same shape as
that
the
recurve
bow
type of bow. Yeah.
The recurve, that we see in the Dire Chasm unit.
Yep.
And then there's also something behind that archer unit that could be another one of those like Howdah style palanquin units, or it could be something else that we still don't know.
Yep.
So who knows what that thing is in the background there.
Yeah. So I think we've definitely got 4 units. Thank you, Tom. I almost forgot the archers. But yes, there is an archer unit here. Like you can see this is clearly a hand. Like the hand holding a bow thing is very easy to spot because you can see the flesh tone over top of a clearly recurved stick, right? Like the light pattern of a bow is very recognizable, right?
Yep.
Because it like a spear wouldn't go light, dark, flesh, dark, light, dark, light. Like there's just whoop, 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 whoop. There's that little swoop-de-loop. So yeah, we've got whatever the big palanquin is, the new Slaanesh caster sorceress lady, we're assuming, whatever the mounted thing is, or the Slangor type unit, and then the archers. So we've still got at least 4 more units to see, which will mean at minimum you're talking about 7 units in this release. Yep. Because then you've got the 4 here, plus Sigvald, and plus the Sexecutioners and the Twin Souls.
Yeah, which is like, that's a large release.
Yeah. Like, which lends credence to your thought that there may be a new book. Right? Because if you're going to put out 7, like, where are you going to put 7 War Scrolls in
if it was
not a new
just
book?
3 War Scrolls.
Right.
Okay. But we got 7 with at least 3 new hero units.
Mm-hmm.
That tells me we got a new book coming.
Yep. Oh yeah. So somebody said there was another base with something on it next to the Slangor's top left. Yeah, we'll go back and take a look at that. I wasn't sure what to make of that one. I know exactly what you're referencing there. So let me go back to Whippy Person.
By the way, my money is this drops in January.
I hope so. Obviously, clearly this was supposed to drop forever ago. Just forever ago. So what you're talking about is over here. Yep. So basically, I love GW always paints their base rims in drab brown, this ugly color, because then when they set them up on like this beautiful white marble,
Yep. You
right?
can
That
see all the
it
units.
just stands out like a sore thumb in the background that it's another model, right? Like, so thank you. Please do all of your previews in the future on white marble, GW, because that'll make our background searching much easier, right? Does this mean a battle tome is on the way? Yes, yes, it does. I hope so. Yes, what they're pointing at is that there's clearly another thing here on a
Yeah.
pretty big base. It's
Yeah.
the problem is I can't make anything out of it. Like it's just
Well, I don't. But is that Celeste? Like, I know that. Like, so the
no,
one
because
of
you
the
can't see
questions.
enough of it low. Like it looks almost more like a floating thing because there's so little of it in frame.
Yeah.
Like it's so
Yeah.
raised up, right? Like it looks almost like you're looking at legs here, and this
Yeah.
is like a cloth piece dangling down.
Yep.
But again, like that's so out of frame
Hence
that it's
my
hard to even
Celeste
say.
question. Yeah. Because
But the
that
point
is a lot.
is,
Like, yeah.
that could be another unit. So like we're
Yeah.
talking about 7, 8 units at minimum, right?
Yep.
Um, so that's pretty great. Very excited about that. This is the dream. This is the dream. This is what we've been waiting on.
I mean,
Uh,
it's what you've been waiting on. I mean, what I'll say is
we, the collective we, society is healing, Tom. This is what brings us together.
what I will say is that this is an aesthetic that actually like appeals to me.
Yeah, sure.
So like I could potentially like if the rules are right, this is an army I could collect.
Sure. You know, one thing I'll say about this from a hobby perspective as well is
Yeah.
that these actually wouldn't be very hard to paint at all and make look cool. And what I mean by that is they'll accept a paint job from fairly simple to like ultra high end and look amazing in both cases because they have all this like heavy metal armor on
Yep.
them. You
Yep.
could do them in some metals, you know, give a little like traditional washing and highlighting, and they're gonna look great like they do here, right? Or
Yep.
you can go like up to 1,000,000 and go in crazy non-metallic colors and go nuts. And so I
Yep.
think they'll actually be a very strong release as far as like hobby people go. Hobbyists of all levels will find a lot of joy in these models, which I think is cool. I do hope we get a new book, and I do hope we get a rewrite effectively of the allegiance abilities, so that we actually take into account mortals are going to, you know, like have a reason to exist. Like we need something because if you just slotted these into the existing Hedonite army, they'd have almost no point.
Yeah.
Right? Like what do you? Okay, nope, still wrong. Archeon and a keeper and you know all the hero stuff is still the right choice to build
Right.
it, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
The rules have to adjust to accommodate them.
right, yep. So for me, the this was an A plus. What we've seen so far, I am very excited for whatever this thing is in the background of the shot. This big horn Slangor / mounted thing, whatever this is, I am stoked about what this thing is. I love big weird stuff like that. And if there is a big Palanquin processional unit, which by the way has been teased since the AOS 2 core book. This unit that we're seeing here, this processional thing in the background, there we go. This processional thing in the background, that kind of thing is described in the one-page Slaanesh thing at the beginning of AOS 2. And we've never paid off any of the stuff they described in the one-page Slaanesh release, or of the AOS 2 core book. Like, if you read it, there's like 2 units that are in the demon thing that we know, and everything else is stuff we've never seen. So, I'm glad we're finally getting that. It took 3 years, but okay. That's fine. I can wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm patient. Yeah, I'm very excited for all the releases of this. So let's talk a couple final notes. I agree with you. I think this will be like January, maybe the February, like the very early February release at the latest. I think it'll slot into that. That's generally the chaos spot.
Yep.
Right in the release cycle, it's been Zeech's
Late
spot
January.
and Nurgle's spot, and you know everybody fits. The chaos always takes that slot. And Cold Shoulder says, I'm 100% sure we're getting a new book to course correct Slaanesh. 5 nerfs are enough to warrant a new book. I agree. I'm with that. I'm fine with it. Just don't, you know, keep things being interesting, and that's fine. But like I'm more than happy for a change of pace in that book. There was a lot of toxic stuff in that book that was NPE. We could take another swing at it, and I'd be fine with it. Just make keepers of secrets, keep them real scary and real deadly. They can die easy. I don't need them to be like invulnerable things like they were, where they could just locust you down and then murder you. But they should be super scary. That's all I ask. Please keep them to be a very scary greater demon. So they did say there's another preview show coming in early December, probably like 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away, I think.
They said it's going to be Black Library narrative focused. So
yeah. So who knows if we'll get much in the way of models? Could be. I am very much hoping that we see more of this Slaanesh army in the coming weeks. So I know I'm getting a new army, new year, new army. That's nice. Got that going for me. Glad I finished up those giants. Yeah, somebody said there's not a lot, or Cold Shoulder said there's not a lot of leather on those leather daddies. Let's just wait. We've got time. We've got time still.
You still have a Marauder-esque light infantry option that could drop. So don't give up hope yet.
That's right. It's always time for leather daddies. So, Tom, any final thoughts on the on this reveal?
I did not fill up my bingo card.
That's a shame. When do we get our Vampirates, Tom?
I don't want to lose faith.
Sure.
But with this Slaanesh release and the proliferation likely of rapiers, like when I look back across the rumor engines, like my dream of Vampirates is falling apart.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Keep the faith. Here's what I'll say. We pointed this out. I'll repeat it now for people who might have joined late. We have rumor engines stretching back to March that are unrevealed. And in everything we saw in this preview show, we got 0 rumor engines revealed.
Right.
0. Right. And there is a lot of weird, dead, piratey stuff still hanging out in here. Right?
I agree with that. But I'm wondering if it might be not more traditional vampire counts.
Sure.
And the pirate theme is just not it's not what we thought.
Could be. Again, I don't know. It just shocks me how much of this we haven't seen.
Stop. Okay. So the one leg rumor engine that was that really thin leg.
Yeah, I'll go back to it. I'm way past that because obviously I was scrolling beyond that. But yes, I'll go back to it. That's fine. Your little thin cool leg.
That weird what we thought was a leg from Flesh Eater Courts. It makes me wonder if that's not what that really tall thing was in the background.
Oh, maybe. I didn't see anything that looked like that shoot of a rock going up, but yeah, it could be, I suppose.
But
I mean, we could see so little of it. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is such a great release. Sigvald's incredible. The units were incredible. I'm excited for the rest. I'm excited for where this goes in the story. It makes me wonder if we don't get just Broken Realms Sigvald or something like that, if he wouldn't be the title character.
Well, I mean, yes. If it's not, I had said Celeste, right?
Right.
But given Sigvald dropping, my money's on Sigvald.
Right. If we're not getting a new book, if there's not a completely new Slaanesh tome, right? Which, by the way, they've clearly shown they can walk and chew gum at the same time because it doesn't have to be just A or B. Because if you look at what they're doing in 40K, they're in the middle of this battle tome releases. They're cranking them out now to get the 9th edition battle tomes out, and yet at the same time they're starting their Broken Realms thing with this new assault, right? This Typhus assault, where they're also giving rules for 5 different factions. So there's no reason to think they couldn't do both, right?
Yep.
But if we don't get a new Slaanesh battle tome, then I feel like it has to be Broken Realms Sigvald, right?
Well, I think it'll be Broken Realms Sigvald, and I think we'll get a battle tome. Okay. I think it'll be
all in, big time. I mean, we've said that we think for Broken Realms they're going to have what they learned is that it's better for this if they include more armies, so more people are interested in the book and dialed into it, which is good learning. They should have never done just 2 like they did in Psychic Awakening. And then 2, we've said that we think there'll probably be some kind of big release tied into every one of these, right? And by going from just like it's only 2 armies and we kind of throw out a hero or something like they did in Psychic Awakening, right? Instead, now we've got this world where they're going to do 5 factions, 6 factions, something like that in a book. And then they can put a big release alongside of it, maybe even a couple, right? Like where they had all the different boxes that just came out. We had Shadow and Pain, and all that's tied together.
Yep.
Right? And so it would make sense that whatever the next book is, all of this Mortal Slaanesh ties into it quite tightly. I mean, we did leave on the ultimate cliffhanger of the Protean form being born. And so, like, it feels like we're driving in a Slaanesh direction. Which, again, is why I said, and when we did our Broken Realms preview show, my argument was I thought they would do the classic GW and left turn. They'll oftentimes, like, start the story, and they'll leave you on a big cliffhanger, and then the next book they just won't touch on it at all. And they'll and then they'll wait till the next book just to keep you in a protracted state of, like, waiting and excitement for it.
Yep.
Could be they don't do that, right? Maybe in this case we actually get 1 and 2 sets up the story, and then maybe 3 is it. But I had said the whole Slaanesh and what's going to become of Slaanesh is going to factor into the story earlier. It's not going to be the end of the story, right? Because we need to see the consequences of it. And so, yeah, there you go.
Like I said, I thought Slaanesh was going to be earlier, or later, not earlier. But this points to Slaanesh being book 2.
Sure.
Because again, I agree. I had thought that we'd get a destruction left turn, but maybe not. And especially with like the Gits, the Spider Fang showing up in the magazine in White Dwarf, maybe we don't get the Gorka Morka stuff so early. Maybe we don't get it at all.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I went back and when I was looking at I went back and looked at the first stories from Arcane Power and the first stories from, or not Arcane Power, sorry, Forbidden Power and Malign Sorcery. There we go. Sorry.
Yep.
And in both of those cases, the first story was really not indicative of anything.
Sure.
So, and Phalanx said most Psychic Awakening books had at least 3 factions. Okay, there you go. So they've clearly still broadened it out even beyond that. I mean, they're covering a lot of stuff, which is good. I'm super excited for where this goes. I think we're gonna see so much Mortal Slaanesh stuff here in the coming weeks. I think we'll get the rest of the previews probably at the end of December, is what I think for that.
Well, and by the way, for those that are wondering, like, why didn't we get more in this reveal? It's because of how early this show is.
Right.
They don't want to hurt their Christmas sales.
Right. Yeah, okay. I think that's exactly right. Because if they know this is coming after Christmas, everybody's going to be like, nah, I'll just keep my powder dry for this massive release, right? And the key is they want to sell, like, you retail now is a double dip game. So you get people to buy a bunch of stuff up for Christmas as Christmas gifts, and then you get people to buy stuff with their Christmas cash.
Yeah, right? the bounce back of Christmas cash. And so this is why we have the Battle Forces. That's why we really don't have, like, a lot of things announced. Why the new Broken Realms narrative is not revealed. The reason why it's not revealed is because it's probably going to be indicative of the armies involved.
Right.
And they don't want to mess with the current sales trajectory moving into Christmas.
Yep. Agreed. But at any rate, overall, fantastic reveal. I mean, obviously, this is everything I've wanted forever. So I am beyond stoked, beyond excited for this. I mean, I can't wait to build this force. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. I'm excited. More to come. If there is something interesting in the next reveal show, of course, we'll do a recap just like this. If it's all just Black Library stuff, we won't, because I don't care.
Nope.
But yeah, I think this is a great setup. Very exciting for what the future holds. A lot of beautiful stuff. So there we go. For all of you watching, thank you so much for watching. We do want to know your reactions. Drop them in the comments. Tell us what you thought. Did you disagree with us? What do you see as the future? What do you think those fuzzy images in the back of the Slaanesh release are? Give us your best guesses as to what they are down in the comments. While you're here, give us a like as well. Go ahead and hit like. That way, that'll help other people find this reaction video, and other people come over and find the channel. And I really appreciate that. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.